Tracking down the latest details after an overpass collapsed on Interstate 75 last night.
Residents of Augusta, Kentucky are mourning the loss of one of their own after he was killed in the bridge collapse in Cincinnati.
Police are searching for 3 gunmen who broke into a home this morning and tied up 2 people inside.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon to you. Part of Interstate 75 will remain closed the next few days while crews clean up and investigate a deadly overpass collapse.
The Hopple Street overpass came crashing down on the southbound lanes in Cincinnati about 10:30 last night, killing a construction worker and injuring a trucker. The bridge was in the middle of being demolished when it happened.
It's a routine operation for the most part. We've done it on other projects. So it was a simple demolition of the bridge.
The construction worker, has been identified as 35-year-old Brandon Carl. He was from Augusta in Bracken County. Today, those who live in the community told us about Carl and the kind of person he was. WKYT's Sam Smith shows us how he's being remembered in our top story at 5.
Everyone I talked with that knew Brandon Carl talked about how hardworking and kind he was. People say Augusta is a tight-knit town. One woman told me that when one person cries, everyone else cries too. That Cincinnati bridge collapse claimed the life of the 35-year-old. He had a fiance and 4 children. I saw several people upset that one of their own was killed. People here tell me that when he wasn't working construction, he was working on a farm. I talked with one of his high school basketball coaches today. He says that hard-working attitude showed up when Carl was on the court. He says Carl will definitely be missed.
Good old boy that would give you the shirt off his back to help, and somebody that provided for his family and his children, and always had a kind word and always truly concerned about what was going on in your life, and just a good boy that'll truly be missed.
His funeral arrangements are still pending. I'm told they'll be handled by the Metcalf Hennessy Funeral Home right here in town, and they should be finalized by tomorrow. In Augusta, Sam Smith, WKYT.
Kokosing Construction Company out of Westerville, Ohio, was in charge of that work. A state official says the company has a strong safety reputation.
A terrifying morning for the victims of a home invasion. It happened on Old Paris Road here in Lexington about 9. Lexington police say 3 armed men forced their way into the home and tied up 2 women inside. WKYT Sean Moody is tracking the investigation.
Police say the 2 women inside the house weren't seriously hurt, but they did go through quite an ordeal being tied up and robbed. Police say this is something that doesn't happen often around town.
It's something that's rare. I can't remember the last time we've had something like this.
They say a man runs a home improvement business out of this house. Around 9 o'clock this morning, they say a man came to the door asking about work. He asked if the business owner was home, and a woman inside said no.
Just a few minutes later, 3 males burst in the door. One was armed with a shotgun, one was armed with a handgun.
Police say those men didn't waste time.
Tied them up and then searched the house, did find some money that was part of the business, and then fled.
Police say there was also a young child inside the house at the time, but the robbers apparently didn't notice and left the child alone. Now police are searching for the 3 men, and they want to talk to the man who came to ask about the job as well.
Certainly this gentleman that came by looking for a job is somebody that we want to speak to. May not be a suspect, may just be purely coincidental that he was here looking for a job, but it's certainly suspicious that right after he confirms that the owner of the business is not here, just a few minutes later is when the crime occurred.
And police say the people who did this could face burglary and robbery charges. In Lexington, Sean Moody, WKYT.
Police say one of the men was white, in his mid-20s, about 5'4" and thin. Another was also white, in his mid-20s, about 270 pounds, with a shaved head and blue eyes, wearing gray sweatpants. Police didn't have a description for the 3rd man. A man accused in his boyfriend's murder faced a judge this afternoon. Lexington police say 20-year-old Matthew Donaghy stabbed 40-year-old Todd Schumacher to death at their home on Lamont Drive Sunday. During today's hearing, Donaghy's attorney entered a not guilty plea. He also asked for a mental health evaluation. The judge refused to set a bond for Donaghy. Well, after a couple of mild days, our temperatures are about to take a dip.
Yes, they are. WKYT meteorologist Jim Caldwell's here with the colder forecast.
It all starts later on tonight into the day tomorrow, guys. We'll watch that frontal boundary finally sweep through the area, and it'll shave a few degrees off, and then it'll do even more as we get toward the end of the week. Much colder air starts to dive in. Right now, across Kentucky, we're running in the 50s. You look at Corbin, 54 degrees. You got Lexington at 53 with that sunset. And, well, continuing to set. Obviously, the sun continuing to set would be the right way to say that. 53 in Florence as well. So plenty of cloud cover also coming into play for us, but no precipitation, at least at this moment. We have some out there. It's showing up just west of our area across parts of Missouri and trying its best to get into Kentucky, but the eastern edge of this starts to erode away a little bit because it is running into some drier air, so it's not going to have the same coverage or the same oomph once it gets into Kentucky later on tonight. Here's our daily breakdown. As we look ahead here, we're talking about a few showers possible out there during the overnight, and some of that might even linger into the day tomorrow. Temperatures, we'll watch those drop a little bit for highs tomorrow. We're probably in the mid-40s rather than the mid-50s, which is still above average. But it's what's taking shape toward the end of the week that has a little more attention, maybe a little wintry pattern. We'll take a closer look and track that into our area coming up in just a few minutes.
The mother of a teenager whose disappearance attracted national attention is in jail this afternoon. Our county-by-county coverage begins in Grayson County, where deputies arrested Sherry Peters on a custodial interference charge. Peters' daughter, 13-year-old Cheyenne Phillips, and 18-year-old Dalton Hayes were caught Saturday in Florida. Peters has not had custody of Phillips in years. Today, Hayes talked about his time on the run with Phillips and the crime spree the pair is accused of. You'll hear from him on WKYT News at 6. A man injured in a Perry County crash has died from his injuries. State police say that 40-year-old Scotty Cornett lost control of his car and hit a truck on Highway 699 last Friday. He was thrown from the car and over an embankment. Cornett was airlifted to UK Hospital, where he died Sunday. The truck driver was not hurt.
President Obama will lay out his vision for the upcoming year when he gives his annual State of the Union address tonight. Greg Boswell has a preview of the speech from Washington.
Ahead of his 6th State of the Union address, President Obama sat down with guests invited to show how his policies can help the middle class.
He'll put down his ideas to make sure that paychecks go a little farther, to make sure that people have the training and education they need for new jobs of the future.
President Obama used speeches earlier this month to preview his proposals. He'll need billions to pay for them and is calling on Congress to increase taxes on the wealthy.
The idea is falling flat with Republicans in control of both the House and Senate. The GOP leadership has little interest in spending money on the president's ideas.
It all looks like the same old tax and spend that the president's been advocating for the last 6 years. Hopefully that's just rhetoric. He knows we're not likely to pass these kinds of measures.
In just the last few weeks, Congress and the president have already clashed over bills to approve the Keystone XL pipeline, change his health care law, and roll back Wall Street reforms.
I hope tonight's speech is light on the veto threats and heavy on the areas where we can find common agreement.
Common ground may be found in new trade proposals and in fixing America's crumbling roads and bridges. Craig Boswell, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Newly elected Senator Joni Ernst from Iowa will deliver the GOP response, and Florida Republican Kurt Clausen will deliver the Tea Party rebuttal. You can see the State of the Union tonight at 9 here on WKYT. The Wildcats returning to Rupp tonight.
And they're not just looking for a win. They want to hold on to that perfect 17-0 record. WKYT's Rob Bromley's live at Wildcat Central with a preview of the game.
Hello and welcome back into Wildcat Central. It will be a little while before this place is really buzzing with a late start tonight, but some of the early arrivals already on hand here at Lexington Center as Kentucky gets set to take on Vanderbilt in Rupp Arena. And as you know, the Wildcats are just sailing along with that #1 ranking. They have held the top spot all the way, and barring a tremendous upset, monumental upset, they should stay undefeated tonight. But they do not want to get big-headed about this thing. That's something that players can fall into.
I think sometimes, guys can get big-headed or boastful about it, but, we definitely came back to earth after those first 2 games, and it's shown the last couple of games, so hopefully we can keep that going. Staying level-headed and just keeping the main goal in front of us and, just staying focused.
Vandy tonight in Rupp, another late start just like it was last week. 9 o'clock tip. You can see it on the SEC network. And come down and see us here at Wildcat Central. You can pick up a free collectible for tonight's game at the Kentucky branded store, which is right next door to us here. I'll be back with sports a little bit before 6 o'clock. Dominique Hawkins and Derek Willis both looking for playing time. Derek Willis talking about that yesterday. I'll have that in sports just before 6, but for now, Sam and Amber, that's it from here at Wildcat Central. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Rob. We're looking for 18-0. The Cats are right back on the road this weekend. They'll play at South Carolina on Saturday.
Follow WKYT online at WKYT.com. Join the conversation on Twitter and become a part of the WKYT Facebook family.
Here's a look at the most discussed stories on our website right now. People are talking about a law to change transgender student bathroom policies, the State of the Union, and a woman attacked during election robbery. You can join in on the conversation at WKYT.com.
More rage today as authorities in Europe crack down on terror suspects. Hundreds of German police officers launched about a dozen raids, mostly in Berlin. In addition to suspected Islamic extremists, they were looking for evidence that suspects transferred money and equipment to Syria. Jury selection started today for the trial of James Holmes. He's charged with killing 12 people during a shooting rampage at a movie theater 2.5 years ago. Jury selection is expected to take months. A pool of 7,000 must be reduced to 12 jurors and 12 alternates. Jurors must also be willing to consider the death penalty.
We're looking for people who, even though that decision may be difficult, still would agree that there may be some circumstances, some defendants, some cases where the death penalty is appropriate.
Holmes' parents tried to avoid a trial and have their son sent to a mental institution.
The number of deaths linked to General Motors vehicles continues to grow. The company says 49 deaths are the result of faulty ignition switches in the cars. GM recalled more than 2 million cars because of the problem. The company is in the process of making settlement payouts to victims and their families. This tax season, Walmart customers can collect their tax refunds in cash at stores. Walmart made the deal with 25,000 tax preparers. The store won't charge a fee for the service, but tax preparers might charge up to $7. The service is aimed at people who don't have bank accounts, but anyone can use it.
Enjoy those lower gas prices while they last. The former president of Shell Oil says gas prices could shoot up to $5 a gallon later this decade. That's if production slows and demand goes up. Today, gas prices are averaging $2.05 a gallon. Remember, you can always find the cheapest gas prices in your area by simply going to WKYT.com. The opening date has been set now for a new Lexington restaurant. The Cheesy Mac will hold its grand opening on February 4th. The restaurant is located in front of the Kroger on Richmond Road. As the name suggests, the restaurant features gourmet mac and cheese.